Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown, Dunkirk, and Westfield, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives, to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, happy Saturday, everybody. What a beautiful Saturday it's going to be. They're promising like weather up to almost 80, I think. I saw 80 the other day. Enjoy, because I think it's going to cool off a little bit during the week, but that's okay. We kind of get that upswing going here, and it's all good. I don't know about you guys, but driving around Chautauqua County in the area, the flowering plants, the trees, bushes, they're going like crazy. It's like the county's on fire with forsythia. I don't know how it is out your way, but it's everywhere. And it's the bush that you love for 3 days and then hate for the other 362 days because it's just a spindly looking thing, but it's beautiful right now. The magnolia trees are great right now. I finally got tulips coming up. I planted tulips years ago and they pooped out after me like after about 3 years, and then they just had leaves, but I put all new ones in this year, so we're looking good there. And I see a lot of weeping cherries. We have one, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. It looks like this big veil of white flowers. It's just gorgeous, really, really nice. Well, good morning, everybody, and good afternoon wherever you are in the world, because as everybody knows, we stream around the world. And I want to say good afternoon to all of my listeners on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people. Thanks for joining us Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. And for everyone else that's watching us, either we're streaming or on Spectrum 1301, and you can watch us over and over and over again throughout the week at 2 and 8 on Spectrum. So thanks for joining us. I want to remind you that if you have a question or a comment, something you want to announce, give us a call at 716-753-5225. Don't be shy. And if you don't want to hear your voice on the radio or television, well, it'd be radio too, either one, just tell the guys when they answer the phone what your message is. If it's your clever organization having a little bit of an online fundraiser, online lately, but more and more people are getting out of bed. But if a birthday, anniversary, whatever, just let us know. We'll be happy to announce it. And speaking of announcements and special events, here's a trivia question that I came up with today. Okay. Everybody knows Steven Seagal. He's that really cool martial artist guy. And a lot of us know our own Stephen right here in Chautauqua County, Stephen Gustafson, who is the co-founder of the 10,000 Maniacs. What do they have in common? Anybody know? Justin, you're sleeping over there. Do you know what? Any idea? He wasn't even listening. Any idea? No idea. It's their birthday today. Yeah, Steve Gustafson, happy birthday. He posted on Facebook today, and I have it listed somewhere. But congratulations, you made it another year. And along with that, the 10,000 Maniacs, all the bands, the Growlers, my group, I've seen everybody starting to get out there and starting to play again. And boy, I don't think people realize how much they appreciate and missed live music in the last year, so it's back. Speaking of, I just got a question in my earpiece. So today, Saturday, whatever today is, what is today, the 11th? The 10th. We're the Growlers, the band I'm in, we're playing at the Big Inlet Brewing in Mayville, just around the corner from here at 1:30 to 4:30. And I know a lot of the other places are having outdoor events. These are mostly outdoor events. Very few places are indoor, but they're open concerts and so forth. So, get out there and suck up some sunshine and some beverages and some good food wherever your music takes you. And as we know, Chautauqua County is just blessed with all kinds of music, and so should be a great weekend. So I wish you a lot of fun with that. All right, today we had a switch up guest a little bit. My original guest had a conflict, and we have a special friend that comes here every once in a while. Dr. Marianne Spanos from the Office for Aging Services will be with us shortly, so stay tuned. Okay, I have a few announcements that I want to share with you. Just want to check one thing here. My brother is sending me an attachment. What does he want? Oh, okay. I don't know why he did that. He watches the show from wherever he is. Okay, let's see. New instructors at Infinity, our friends down in Jamestown. Okay, Infinity Visual and Performing Arts welcomes 2 new instructors to their team. Okay. Laura Becker, she is on, if I'm looking at the TV, it's on my right. I never know if it's my right or my left because I'm reversed when I look at myself. Laura Becker is a multi-talented artist from Akron, Ohio. She holds a bachelor's degree in theater with a concentration in nonprofit arts administration from Baldwin Wallace University in Berea, Ohio. She spent a semester in York, England, at York St. John University, learning devised theater techniques and creating a one-woman show called Anything is Possible. She is also a graduate of the esteemed Martell School of Dance in Akron and is experienced in ballet, tap, jazz, lyrical, and modern dance. I'm not good at any one of those. Laura began writing songs at the age of 5 and is a firm believer that no one is too young or too old to begin an artistic journey. She is in the process of recording her first album, Way Cool, after spending 2 years in Woodstock, New York, playing and developing her original music as a singer-songwriter. Laura loves to learn new things and is an active roller skater and student of yoga. Wow! In her free time. Her teaching approach is intuitive and improvisation. These are hard to say Saturday morning. Based as she tries to create a fun and flexible atmosphere for students to explore and develop leadership, confidence, and agency. Well, welcome, Laura. Now, here, the other person on the other side is someone I know. She's been associated with Infinity for quite a long time. Emily Strong, vocal and theater instructor, group class instructor, originals, lab, and theater. Emily Strong is thrilled to be returning to Infinity after a half-decade's stay in New York City. Who says half-decade? That's 5 years. Now that she's back in Jamestown, she enjoys writing music, fixing up her new home, and playing with her dogs Stella and cat Leroy. Stella! Emily is an accomplished vocalist, singer-songwriter, musical theater performer, and writer. She graduated from Empire State College with a bachelor's degree in theater and visual art and is currently pursuing a master's degree in elementary education. While earning her bachelor's degree, she wrote several original musicals and created many portfolios of original paintings and drawings. While in New York City, Emily worked at the Brooklyn Music Factory in Gowanus, Brooklyn, and taught rock bands, young children's music classes, as well as private vocal and piano instruction. I bet she's got a lot of stories to tell. Emily has studied voice and acting with Broadway veterans Jan Horvath and Keith Butterball. Throughout the years of practicing her craft, some of her fondest memories remain those made while creating art as a young adult in high school and earlier. It was the time she spent experimenting with different mediums in a safe and supportive environment that paved the way for further exploration and study. Emily is excited to offer that same support and guidance to new and young artists in this safe and exciting environment. She specializes in songwriting and would love to show her students how easy it can be to write your own song. Her original music can be found at her website, emilystrongmusic.com. Okay, so for more information about Infinity, or you want to register for lessons with any of the 40 instructor mentors at Infinity, just check out their website, infinityperformingarts.org. And presently, students are being accepted in this safe, in-person for lessons, and also offering digital lessons and opportunities. They emphasize the word safe a number of times in that press release, and I know they've gone way out of the way to make sure that everybody is just that. So great people, great musicians, great programs. They've been on our show many times. I've had the opportunity to work with them over the years. Check it out, and it's for all ages. It's not just for kids, okay?
So great to see Emily coming back.
Emily's
She was in school with my boys.
Oh, so you know Emily.
In the plays, yeah.
All right. All
Great
right.
young lady.
Very great. Okay, coming up, also to announce this is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, as we mentioned earlier this month. Back in March, we were talking about this. They want you to wear teal every Tuesday, Teal Tuesday, the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th during the month of April. And then send your pictures of participation to Elizabeth at Project Crossroads or to Mackenzie at the News Center. And you can send it to mackenzie.snyder@use, like use, salvationarmy.org. And then on April 28th is Denim Day. Everyone to wear denim to raise awareness for sexual assault based on the rape case in Ireland where the predator was found innocent because the victim's jeans were too tight, so she would have had to help get them off equaling consent. Years later, the case was overturned and the denim defense was made illegal. Okay, so again, send your pictures of wearing denim. Moving right along, WRFA has new staff. All right, I think we have a slide here. New station manager and public affairs director is announced. WRFA and Regina Center for the Arts are announcing new staff. Well, one's kind of old and the other one is joining. With the recent retirement of Dennis Drew, another founder of 10,000 Maniacs, and founder and longtime general manager of WRFA, the Regina has appointed Jason Sample as the new station manager. In addition, WRFA is also announcing that Julia Cecil Hanley will serve as the station's new public affairs director. So I suspect I'll be getting emails from her rather than Jason. Jason was on the show about a year ago, I think, and just that whole group is just real good friends of ours. And we work collaboratively with them between the TV station and the radio station. So let's see what does it say about Jason. Jason has worked in local media for the past 2 decades as a news reporter in both radio and print media. Before being appointed WRFA station manager, he served for nearly 10 years as the station's public affairs director, covering issues and stories involving the Jamestown community and Chautauqua County. Prior to his work at WRFA, Sample served as the editor of the weekly newspaper Chautauqua Star from 2008 to 2010. He also worked for over 7 years for James Broadcasting Media One Group, covering news and sports, as well as serving as program director for Classic Rock, WQFX. How's that? In addition to his duties at WRFA, I shouldn't do that. Sample is a trustee with the Chautauqua County Historical Society and has been chair of its program committee since 2012. He's a Jamestown area native, graduating from Faulkner High School and attending Jamestown Community College. He holds a BA in broadcast journalism from West Virginia University. And he says the following: I'm looking forward to carrying on the mission of WRFA and building off the groundwork that Dennis Drew laid for the station during the past 17 years. It's not going to be easy to fill his shoes, but hopefully we can do him justice by continuing to ensure WRFA remains the community asset it has become over the years. And then we have Julia joins the WRFA group after working for over a decade with the City of Jamestown as the city's recreation coordinator. She previously worked as public relations specialist for Chautauqua Opportunities, administrative assistant for Greater Jamestown Empire Zone, executive assistant to former Chautauqua County Executive Mark Thomas, and also for James Broadcasting as a reporter, news anchor. Julia has been involved with WRFA for more than a decade as a member of its community advisory board, serving most recently as board chair and also as a station volunteer when she reported morning news updates at the station. She was also the announcer of the popular Rolling Hills Radio program from 2015 to 2020. And she says, I've been involved with WRFA from the beginning as a volunteer and advocate for the station. I'm thrilled to join the team in continuing to cover current events and supporting the arts in our community. All right, so congratulations for you folks, and I know we're going to be working with you closely here at Chautauqua Sunrise and Access Chautauqua. Okay, let's move on here. Reginald A has got some things going on, and they wanted us just to kind of let you know. I share this information because people need to know what's going on. A lot of people think things are still closed, but Reg is open. So what's going on? 2 films nominated for Best Picture at this year's Academy Awards will be shown at Reg Liddy Center for the Arts. Nomadland screens Wednesday, April 14th at 7 p.m. Judas and the Black Messiah screens Friday, April 16th at 7 p.m. Each is nominated for 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Whew. So let me give you a quick little synopsis of this. In Nomadland, Best Actress nominee, oh boy, here we go. Frances McDormand stars as Fern. Following the economic collapse of a company town in rural Nevada, she packs her van and sets off on the road exploring a life outside of conventional society as a modern city nomad. The third feature film from the director Chloe Zhao. The film features real nomads, Linda May, Swanky, and Bob Wells as Fern's mentors and comrades in her exploration through the vast landscape of the American West. Nomadland is rated R and is 110 minutes long. In addition to Best Picture and Best Actress, it's nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and Best Filming and Editing. In Judas and the Black Messiah, FBI informant William O'Neill, Best Supporting Actor nominee Lakeith Stanfield, infiltrates the Illinois Black Panther Party and is tasked with keeping tabs on their charismatic leader, Chairman Fred Hampton. Best Supporting Actor nominee Daniel Kaluuya. A career thief, O'Neill reveals in the danger of manipulating both his comrades and his handler, Special Agent Roy Mitchell. Hampton's political prowess grows just as he's falling in love with fellow revolutionary Deborah Johnson. Judas and the Black Messiah is rated R. It's 126 minutes long, and it's been nominated for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, and is nominated for Best Original Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and Best Original Song. Okay, so hang on a minute. Tickets are $7. Each patron will be charged $1 for additional cleaning of the theater due to COVID. Seating is limited due to social distancing mandates. Masks are required of all patrons. All tickets must be purchased ahead of time. Okay, and also they're going to check your temperature like most places are, and you can go to the box office between 12 and 5 on Monday and Wednesday and Friday from 12 to 8. You can give a call at 484-7070 for more information. Okay. Then moving along, the Hope Chautauqua we have a thing for Hope Chautauqua, is a substance use prevention coalition. They envision a healthy, drug-free community where all residents have an equal opportunity to reach their full potential. Our mission is to create an environment where all youth can develop into healthy and productive adults through the promotion and implementation of healthy lifestyle choices and use of evidence-based community-level substance use interventions. They want you to run with them and help them out. And you can sign up. Today's the last day, I understand, and then it's going to be run throughout the month of May. The Hope Coalition is holding its first ever virtual 5K run to bring family and friends together during this time of uncertainty. Proceeds for this will go to strengthening the coalition's prevention efforts in a multitude of ways and so forth. So check it out. There is information, and you can contact Prevention Works for more information. Okay, then we got an advisory from the city of Jamestown. Basically, Mayor Eddie Sundquist, who's going to be our guest next week, will be joined by Regina Brockman for an introductory press conference on the appointment to fill the vacant Ward 3 City Council seat of the late council member Vicki James. I knew Vicki, very nice lady. At 4 p.m. on Monday, April 12th, in the lobby of the municipal building. The media is invited to attend, and the public, masks will be required. All right, and then finally, this is from the Chamber of Commerce. There's the state legislative breakfast is April 23rd. Mark your calendar. This is where the Chamber of Commerce schedules its legislative breakfast. And it's going to be a first ever virtual event. Wait a minute, hang on a minute. Okay, they didn't realize that this was going to be this way since the pandemic from last year. This year, they're going to continue to hold the online event in place of large group gatherings as health concerns still influence their decisions. And what they were saying is they didn't realize they did this last April and that we would continue to do the same. This year's virtual state legislative breakfast is set for 8 a.m. Friday, April 23rd. Their guests will be State Senator George Borrello and State Assemblyman Andy Goodell. Encourage all attendees to come prepared to submit questions for our representatives in Albany. You may also email questions prior to the meeting to swebster@chautauquachamber.org. Okay, so that's it for now. That's how it goes. If you have an announcement, you can send it to us free of charge. We announce it. Stay tuned. This is for you. A little public service announcement.
Our fellow Americans.
Right now, the COVID-19 vaccines are available to millions of Americans.
And soon, they will be available to everyone.
The science is clear. These vaccines will protect you and those you love from this dangerous and deadly disease.
They could save your life.
So we urge you to get vaccinated when it's available to you.
That's the first step to ending the pandemic and moving our country forward. It's up to you.
That is a perfect segue to our show today. I was thinking on the way over here that it was a year ago, just about, where I got a contact from Dr. Marianne Spanos and said, can you guys put together some public service announcements, remember?
Right.
That was April
oh
last
my gosh,
year, right?
Yes, it was.
And I remember coming into the studio, and we were all kind of like freaked out just a couple of weeks beforehand, because it's like, you know what it was like? It was like walking into tombs. The buildings were empty. We're all looking at each other like, are you diseased? Are you contracting these things? I mean, everybody was very much on edge. And then we brought your whole crew from the county in. I think it was like 4 or 5 of you, and we did those public service announcements, and thousands of people saw those.
Very well received. They needed the information, and they needed the local information. I think there was just so much out in the media that it was hard for people to find out what's relevant for us in Chautauqua County. And so having Dr. Burke especially, and the county executive, and Chris Schuyler,
right,
talking locally and giving the local perspective was really important in those early days.
And I don't know if you knew this, but I think it was like the middle of March when everything just got closed down, because I call it the St. Patrick's Day Massacre.
That's my birthday. Yeah, I knew it shut down.
It was you.
It was
Because I played the 15th, and then everything goes. But we were in here, and I got an email. I think it was from Chris. It says they've closed us down. We're considered non-essential. I go like, how can a TV station be considered non-essential? I think it was like an hour later, we were back on. And then we I think the studio proved itself. I mean, the crew really rose to the occasion, and we spent a lot of extra time doing a lot of filming and taping, and like you said, trying to get the information out there. And Bob Burke was a riot. I don't know if you know this. He came back and he brought all his masks.
No.
I
I knew he came back, but I didn't know what he brought with him.
It was extremely informative. He was trying to explain to people, like, this is the mask you take to the supermarket. This is the mask that you take when you work, with clients and things like that. And these are the ones in between. And don't do this one and use this one. And and it was really good. So, but that was a year ago. I can't believe it. I mean, I just think about our behaviors and how we even come near each other. I mean, I remember when the old behavior is you shake hands with all your guests, and somebody says, "No, we don't do that. We just do like a fist bump or elbow bump or whatever." And I think things are lightening up a little bit, but boy, it was a tough year.
It was a very tough year, and I think especially on the senior population that I deal with. I mean, they were the most vulnerable to dying from the virus. 80% of the deaths are in people over the age of 60. So, we're over 550 million people have died in this country, and that's 400 million, over 400 million are people 60 plus. And it's heartbreaking.
I just got a clarification. That would be 560,000.
Oh, sorry, 560,000.
You just
sorry.
wiped out our entire country plus
Yeah,
Canada.
sorry. 560,000
Thank you for that,
Thank you.
I just got that in my ear. I go, oh yeah. It's too easy to do.
Yeah.
Who
Saturday morning and not enough coffee.
Yeah, oh, tell me. But I remember when people were saying 1,000 people have died. And we thought, holy mackerel! And then there was, and I'm not trying to diss anybody with this, but they were saying, well, that's like the seasonal flu takes that many people every year or every season. Well, then it was like we all watched the numbers on television, and then that was like daily, and then it was I go, you got to be kidding me. So it looks like it's slowed down. I don't know. It seems that it's slowed down.
I really watched the death rates across New York State, and I think for the last week it's been under 50 people, which is really encouraging. Still not good, but encouraging. I think the therapies that they've developed are working better. They have more tools in the toolbox that they had at the beginning of this pandemic, and we know so much more. And I think the vaccines, are starting to curb things.
Right. I always love that term, herd immunity. It's like immunity.
I know.
You feel like you're a cow or a goat, but I get it. The stronger we are as a group of people, and we surround each other with healthy bodies, it's going to be okay, and we're going to get through it. Mm-hmm. But where was I going to go with that? So then vaccines were pretty scarce in the beginning. It was for folks over 65, I think it was, or you had comorbidities and things like this. And now it's anyone over 16, right?
Correct, but remember those people 16 to 18, they're only approved to get the Pfizer vaccine. So, yes.
I did not know that.
So 16 and 17-year-olds at this point in time can only get Pfizer.
So why is that? Because of the availability?
I think it's because they just haven't gone through the approvals for that younger.
The protocols to make sure that
there's no side effects from Moderna and Johnson
Gotcha.
Johnson in the younger people. But the health department is doing the health department is doing all 3 vaccines. Some CVS stores are doing Pfizer, and the Rite Aid stores Just finished up with Moderna this week and are switching to all Johnson & Johnson.
Okay. And Johnson & Johnson, for everybody that may or may not realize, it's just a one shot?
It is a
one
one
and
shot.
done. Okay. And you told me you got your second shot and you're still sitting up and smiling.
I got my second shot yesterday, at the county clinic. Second shot of Moderna.
I had the Moderna.
A little more sore this time than the first time. The first time I was just sore in my arm, and this time I had some body aches. Normal stuff.
Nothing major. Yeah, we've talked about this right along. Everybody has reacted to it differently, and there's no one size fits all kind of report on it. But the thing is to get the shot.
It's very important to get the shot. But you know, if you've had COVID, you know, we encourage everybody to talk with their physician before getting the shot. Usually it's about a 3-month window. They want you to wait. And that's just because your body's already primed. And so if you get the shot too soon, you may have more of a reaction from the shot because your body's already recognized that this is not, you know, this is a bad thing coming in, and so it may have some antibodies already.
How are we doing as a county with the older population? Do you have any ideas?
I have a lot. Yes, I do.
All right.
You know, one great thing about this whole pandemic has been the collaboration between Aging and Department of Health. The county executive, PJ Wendell, brought us in very early into the emergency operations, and you know, it's been great. We've been able to, you know, be the voice for seniors for their needs, and that really has come into play with vaccines. Because everything was rolled out electronically, and as we know, many of our seniors, especially the 85 plus group, are not computer savvy, if they have a computer at all.
Right. We were saying the same thing. We have some family members that are in that category. It was like, how in the world do they get to that? You know, people have to step up and advocate for them, but yeah.
Well, and luckily a lot of family members did help their older relatives, and then our office pretty much dropped everything since about January 15th to help people get vaccinated. So we were working with the Department of Health. We were also working with some pharmacies, and we were going on the sites and registering them. So we get them on the phone, and they gave us all their information to input into the state website or into that pharmacy website.
People might be curious, how do you know who's in that category? I mean, do you have like demographic information on our county and names and phone numbers and stuff?
No, so people had to call us and
Okay.
say, I need help getting a vaccine. And we had actually a special COVID form that the state put in place in our database with an emergency consent built in, so we didn't have to worry about sharing information. If we knew somebody was having a clinic and they had enough staff to do outreach to older people, we could just share who was looking for the vaccine. And that was really great. Around the beginning of January, when we knew this was going to roll out, I met with the state and said, hey, we had this form for COVID needs, but it didn't say anything about vaccines. So they added 3 questions to it. Do you want a vaccine? When was your first dose? Because we knew there were going to be 2 doses, and maybe people had trouble getting the second dose. And then just any comments. It also could capture if they had underlying health conditions.
Wow, yeah.
And it all exported to an Excel spreadsheet.
Wow, excellent.
So that we could sort it by age, we sorted it by towns. We knew some seniors, if we were having a clinic in Dunkirk, we didn't want, you know, it would be difficult for them to travel from Jamestown. Often in the same week we were having Dunkirk and a Jamestown clinic, so we kind of offered, you know, people in the Dunkirk and northern part of the county appointments up there, and others appointments in Jamestown or Mayville.
You know, the past year, looking back and going through it with everybody else, there was a lot of learning. there was a lot of change and a lot of innovation, and then finding deficits and things like that. So from your perspective, what did you learn during this whole pandemic through your office, and were there any surprises or any shortfalls? I mean, there's always shortfalls, but I mean, anything glaring that jumped out and says we need to fix this or anything like that?
Well, we learned a lot in our food programs. I mean, a lot of people were we knew we were going to have a run on food. You know, people were afraid to go to the grocery store.
Right.
And so a lot of people were calling for Meals on Wheels that didn't necessarily need Meals on Wheels, which is our home delivered meal program. We have 3 meal delivery places that deliver meals for us. We had to really educate those not to go into people's homes. You know, sometimes they would go and, you know, as their normal practice, go inside the home, put the meal into the refrigerator for an older person. Right. We had to stop all that.
You know, it's funny you said that, because somewhere during the shows that we were doing, I remember it was you guys in the Salvation Army. We read these announcements. I think it's what we did, saying they're going to ring your doorbell. They're going to leave the food at your front porch. Don't open the door till they leave. I think that's what we were telling them. I think
something very much like that. Or we backed up. You know, we had to get, for some people, little insulated bags to put their meals in and things like that. But it really, you know, I did not see through this whole pandemic that we carried the COVID virus from one house to another, which was my biggest concern. Is if our meals staff was going in, they could potentially carry it, and we could have a whole bunch of people infected. We also, the Department of Health came to us actually in February and said, you know, if we have to quarantine a large number of people, you know, we have to provide food if they don't have food. So can you help us with that? And our kitchens at WCA and SUNY Fredonia really stepped up and made more meals for us. But I said, you know what? We can't have our Meals on Wheels people delivering this. These are active people with disease. So we actually worked on a separate system where the Sheriff's Department helped us drop meals to people in quarantine.
You know, this is like the story after the story. I didn't know any of this stuff about the sheriff.
They're still doing it. They drop a whole week's worth of meals to people who, you know, are identified as not having enough food on hand.
You know, I think this is a different scenario, but I remember driving around Ripley, and I would see these white boxes out on people's front lawns. But I think it was the food bank, but I'm not sure. Or the school or somebody, but there'd be cans of whatever in there and fresh produce, and they were just leaving it right at the kids' family house there and right out on the front lawn.
Yeah. We did a combination of 8 frozen meals and a shelf-stable box with breakfast and lunch items. So another thing was, you know, people were calling for Meals on Wheels and they didn't necessarily need that. We started a shopping assistance program. So a lot of stores, Wegmans, Walmart, they all went to these online ways to order food. Well, again, you have this senior population who's not computer savvy. So we actually did their shopping for them.
Did you really?
Some of our finance staff, and I'd rather us do it because we have, you know, people that are well vetted, and they paid with their own funds or their SNAP benefits they were able to pay with. The SNAP benefits were a little bit of a challenge because SNAP won't let you pay for delivery. So we had the Y delivering and Dunkirk Fredonia Meals on Wheels.
So this was a quilt of partnerships.
It really was.
So thank you. You know, my mind just like woo. Everywhere there was this collaboration. Service organizations, hospitals, drugs, everybody, drugstores, and so far we're getting there.
And that's the cool thing about Chautauqua County is it often functions like a small town. We all know each other, and we're very fortunate that the two United Ways took the lead on getting all these community-based organizations to meet on a regular basis, and brought in then, the government entities to tell them what was going on our side. So really brought us all together. They were the conveners, which kept that communication flowing between Chautauqua County government and community-based organizations. So we weren't duplicating efforts and could collaborate. So it's been a challenging year, but we've learned so much, and I think done really great things to keep our population safe.
This is an amazing story. I mean, this should be written up somewhere. I mean, hearing all this behind the scenes stuff is so interesting. But the thing that jumps out at me, and the question I have for you next is, we all know that all the businesses were experiencing overrides on their budgets, whether it was a restaurant having to put in plexiglass or gloves or, the mask and things like that. This must have really put a real hit on everybody's budgets.
It really did, especially early on when we weren't sure whether the state was, the federal government was going to give relief to the state, and if they didn't get relief, then the local government. We were being told in 2020 that to expect a 20% cut of all of our state funds and that was quite concerning when you've got so much more work to do. But now it's all being made whole, so that is wonderful. One last thing that we did with our meal program, we reached out to local farmers and had a fresh fruit and vegetable drive-up distribution that happened in August and September, which was really well received by seniors. It was a senior farm to senior table
very cool
box, and they got some nutrition education and recipes, because some of these things were different than they were used to eating. Kale and rutabagas, and as well as your normals,
sure.
fruits and vegetables.
So you say kale is not normal?
For some people it's not as normal for me, but some of our seniors were saying, well, I've never tried this before, and I don't know what to do with it. And so we made sure that our dietitian included some information on how to use those things or how to store them. And
and meanwhile, back at the studio, we're doing cooking classes here.
Yeah.
We did Tai Chi, and we did workout.
You did Healthy Bones, right?
Healthy Bones. So how did that all go for you?
That's been going great as well. And actually, I'm going to start a live Healthy Bones in a couple weeks at the adult day centers.
When you contact us to do those things, this was like tear apart the studio. And I believe it was Nancy was on the floor doing these leg extensions. We had Carrie, she was whipping up different recipes, and we just had a lot of fun with everybody. And of course, and then we had Eileen and I don't remember.
Was it
Dr.
Irene Terryberry and I can't think of.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember either. I'd have to look back. But anyways, we were, we were just opening up the studio and doing all kinds of fun things. So we all got stretched, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And I told my colleagues across New York how fortunate we were to have these access stations so that we could load some local content.
Excellent. Well, we're happy to do that. And they were super to work with. Once we figured out what we were doing, it was sort of like they would come in and say, what do you want us to do? And I go, I don't want you to do anything. Okay, the question came in about the Amish community. How are they doing? Any idea?
I don't know what the numbers are, but I do know that we're going to be holding a clinic out in Findlay Lake, trying to get the Amish community vaccinated. I just was contacted yesterday by the Department of Health to see if we could help with the online registration for them. And that's been our big role we started to talk about is we go online and with a team of people, and sometimes assisted by the United Way staff and some community volunteers to get everybody into this, because the state wants everything in their system so that they can, otherwise they wouldn't be able to give you the statistics. Also, they are very strict with the Department of Health, or at least they had been in the beginning of this whole rollout of vaccine, is you have to use the vaccine in 7 days. So people were very upset in the beginning, thinking that, you know, the health department and others were hoarding vaccine. They were not. They had to get everything that they had out to the public within 7 days, and that's a feat, you know. It's not easy to plan these clinics, make sure you have enough vaccinators, support staff. We always had to have EMS on hand.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You know, in case anybody had a crisis, and the EMS were so terrific. Also, as we got older people there who had limited mobility.
Another partnership. Yep.
So
we've gone from the dark ages of not knowing what in the world was going on and the fear to a point where we were learning new behaviors, to the point we were vaccinating. What's next? Any idea?
Well, next is trying to resume some of these activities that we enjoy and love and are really needed for our mental health. We are social beings.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just the people in nursing homes who, you know, they were horribly affected by this pandemic, where they were totally cut off from their loved ones.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of people who have been, you know, had mental health issues. Some, you know, I think we've all had our mental health times. I've had, you know, some nights awake, panicked about this whole situation, and how are we going to get through it? How are we going to get everybody vaccinated? I mean, it's been scary for a lot of us, but I think getting back to those social connections is so, so important. And
My wife,
how do we do that safely?
My wife called me a hermit. I said, "What do you mean a hermit?" I said, "I'm on Zoom every day." Well, I got it after a while what she was getting at. I was like, get out and go talk to people with your mask on. Let's still wear masks, right?
Yes, we have to do that. You know, there's still so much we don't know about this virus and how it's communicated. We certainly have to get to herd immunity before we think about getting rid of masks. That's, I believe, 75% of the population.
Yeah, we're only like at 20% or something like that.
Right. We do have 74% of people 80 to 85 in this county are vaccinated.
Excellent.
Isn't that cool?
Wow.
And
Oh, good.
65% of people 65 to 79, and 55% of the 85 plus population.
Great.
And there are 26 people over the age of 100 who've gotten their vaccine.
Just in case we wanted to know. Wow,
Did we know there was over 26 100-year-olds? There are more than that.
26,
Some didn't want it, but 26 people age 100 plus.
I didn't know there was that many in this county.
You're right.
Of course, you know, years ago I was up at St. Columban's, and there was like 6 or 7 of them. They had the 100-year club or something like that.
It's more and more all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I was listening to NPR, and they were saying children born today, you know, are easily going to live into their hundreds.
Right. So what else? So let's talk about what's going on at your office, like besides the pandemic and vaccines. What else is going on? Anything else? How'd you do? So you said with the budget, you were made whole. Did they give you any extra?
Oh my goodness, we have really. I think one thing for the whole aging network that has really become apparent is how necessary we were in, you know, how necessary our services were. People don't realize that our whole focus is keeping people in their homes and in their communities. And that during the pandemic, that was the safest place for people to be. But it's also the most cost effective.
Exactly.
And we've been underfunded, I want to say, since 2010.
Oof.
Since 2010, we have not gotten back, federally, we had not gotten back to that level. And now, early on, the CARES Act, we had a lot of funding come to us that allowed us not only to put more people on meals, but really use whatever they needed. We put a lot of emergency response buttons into people's homes,
Oh, that'd be
giving
crucial.
them a lifeline. And ours is through Best Buy Health. And they actually have social workers who answer their call button. And so they were telling people, push it if you just need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And that was really great. So we got a lot of those out to the community. Now in this newest what are they calling it? The American Relief Package. There's almost $1 billion for aging programs. From our traditional Older Americans Act programs. There's more money for the workforce development. We've had a shortage of home care workers that it was exacerbated by, fast food people getting $15 an hour.
right.
And them lagging behind. This is critical work.
Yeah.
And those people don't have a living wage. So it was really hard to get staffed our home care cases. And we still have about 250 people on a wait list. So this newest money, and it's not going to happen overnight,
Right.
but this newest money should wipe out our wait list between the increases we got at the state level and this new federal money.
Wow.
It should, we should, by the end of the year, be able to say that nobody is waiting for services.
That's terrific. And, and I think looking at from 30,000 feet, looking down on our country, the world, the baby boomers, me included, are aging out, and their needs are great over time, and it's obvious right now that there's a need for this. I'm not saying it's going to be forever, because I know the generations behind us were smaller, but the point is, there's a lot of people.
Well, and there's also a lot of caregivers like yourself. When your dad was still living,
yeah.
you did a lot of care
Right.
that enabled your dad to stay
him
at
going.
home.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there like that. Not all of them can, afford, not just monetarily, but time-wise,
Yeah.
to take that time away from work
Time and
to
distance,
do
yeah.
that. And so there's a lot more emphasis on, I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but we have been advocating for tax incentives, just like you have a child care tax incentive.
that makes
Why
so much
don't
sense.
you have a tax incentive for taking care of your parent?
That's a great idea.
Caregiver, more emphasis on caregiver support programs.
I know you've told me this, but I've read this and so forth, but it's basically called the sandwich generation, and they're the ones that probably are the least healthy because of stress and time constraints and guilt, and I haven't got to see my mom or dad, or how do I get 100 miles on a regular basis because we've all at distances and things like that,
Exactly. They, caregivers unfortunately really neglect their health too, because they're so busy focused on taking care of mom and dad. I had a really sad case about a year ago where I got called on a weekend about this woman whose daughter died of a heart attack. And the lawyer was calling saying, I need some place to put this lady. And I'm like, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
It was, we eventually got her situated, but it wasn't an easy task to do that.
So I guess what I'm saying right now to my audience is that if you are working with an older adult in your family or friend, and you need to take care of yourself, and so if they wanted some support, how would they get that?
So our office has a lot of programs for caregivers. We have services that help give relief to caregivers, whether it's providing some in-home care for your loved one. You can't do it all yourself, so we could help you with that. Most of our programs are either on a sliding scale according to income, and some are just donation. We also have a caregiver support specialist. She's a social worker who specifically works with caregivers, has a specialty with Alzheimer's and dementia, but also works with all caregivers, you know, giving them tools. We have trainings that they can go to, teaching them how to take care of themselves and connecting them with other caregivers so they can talk about
Tricks of the trade and
issues.
stuff. Now, can they call the New York Connects number? Is that?
Yes, New York
Jeff,
Connects.
let's pop that up and leave it up for a while for folks.
Yeah, New York Connects is our helpline that people can call to find out about any services available for older adults or people with disabilities in this
For the
county.
folks listening on the radio, why don't you give them the number so they hear it?
So New York Connects is the Aging and Disability Resource Center. It's 716-753-4582. You can call this any time of the day or night and leave a message, you know, and the operators who are there between 8:30 and 4:30 will call you back.
I think,
Don't be afraid to leave a message.
I think
They will
sometimes
call you.
families don't realize how fragile their support system is. And if something happens to mom or dad, or even to the caregiver, so there's a breakdown, it can happen like in an hour. I mean, it happens instantly sometimes, and you don't realize, you know, that you can end up in a situation where somebody's in trouble. And so give them a call at that number right down
Yeah,
here.
and
It's
so
right-
these trainings talk about that. What is your backup plan if something happens to you, and what can you do proactively to keep yourself healthy? Give yourself a break. You know, we work very closely with the Chautauqua Adult Day Services. That's a nice place for people to go with very appropriate activities for older adults. You don't have to have dementia. You can just be somebody who wants to go someplace and do things with other older adults there. And they have a location in Jamestown and in Dunkirk. Their Westfield location
Right.
is temporarily closed,
Right, because of the
but
pandemic.
all of those people have been vaccinated, which is great.
Okay, so one more time for those listening on the radio, it's 753-4582. Okay, 753-4582, thanks. Okay, we got a couple minutes left. So what's going on for the summer? Any senior activities, or are you all shut down?
Well, we haven't decided yet whether we'll do a senior picnic this year. We're just trying to gear up to start some activities in very controlled ways. Our health and wellness programs, as I said, are starting to resume.
And those are located where? Where do people go get those?
Well, we had been doing them in like Findlay Lake Community Connections. They have the old elementary
know where it is,
school,
right.
and so they're starting to do some in-person things. We certainly still have our online Eat Healthy, Be Active program going on, which is really great for people from Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, and Allegheny County can access that. So slowly we're just trying to figure it out. We want to do it in safe ways. I can't really give you,
Right.
every situation has to be evaluated separately. That's why I'm starting at the adult daycare, because pretty much all of those people are vaccinated. So it's a safe environment to start doing some in-person exercise.
I think everybody is creeping through it slowly, and I think that's the key. Is slowly, not just because then we're right back in the middle of a mess. Okay, got about a minute left. Anything else you want to share that's going on right now?
Well, just to remember to call the Office for the Aging if you're having difficulty getting a vaccine and you want to be vaccinated. Call our office. We will assist you. We'll tell you if you want to do it on your own, we'll tell you the latest information that we know about where to get vaccinated, what online venue to look at. It was very confusing, and early in the pandemic, people thought they all needed to go through the state website. That changed very early. The state website only gets you to state-run clinics. Here in Chautauqua County, there were none, so you either should go to the Department of Health website. They're trying to keep up on the latest of who's got vaccine where, and we try to promote that information as well. But we also will we'll set you up with an appointment.
All right. And the number there is 753-4471. We've run out of time. Mary Ann, thanks for coming by. This has been
My
so
pleasure.
educational as always. And boy, just good stuff you guys are doing. And thank you on behalf of all of those that you serve. All right, folks, I'm Doc Hamels. You've been watching Chautauqua Sunrise. That's another wrap. And I hope you get outside, enjoy some music wherever you are, and go out there and smell some flowers. They're really pretty awesome right now. And we're going to do this again next Saturday morning right here on Access Chautauqua, Spectrum 1301. And drop us a note on Facebook if you've been watching the show and let us know what you think. Take care and enjoy the good weather. There.
Yeah.
I did it.